So the coronavirus is bad. I don't know the right word. It's bad. It's bad. Trump did an emergency address from the Oval Office. You're seeing all types of unprecedented actions taken. The NBA suspending their season. I just heard, I think the NCAA now is going to do it. Originally they said no fans. Now they're going to suspend March Madness as well. Donald Trump approved emergency measures. He originally said, hey, we're going to cover treatment for coronavirus, but then they changed that because the insurance company said no, and they changed it to just the testing. You know, if you test, if you're getting the test and you don't have it, cool, we're not going to charge anything. But if you get the test and you do have it, sorry, it might cost you a couple $1,000s. Yeah, very good thing to do in the middle of a pandemic. Scare people away from actually going to get treatment. And by the way, no paid sick leave in this country either, so people are going to go to work and they're going to spread it, and you know it's going to be a mess. We're going to be like Italy more than we're going to be like a country that handled it well, like Taiwan. I just heard the PGA Tour is banning all fans from their events. Tom Hanks has it. That one doesn't really fit with the others, but still, it's like I think a lot of people it became real as hell because they're like, "What? Tom Hanks has it?" Because it's just spreading. It's spreading so fast. You got now multiple players on the Jazz have it, which means that whoever the Jazz played in the past 4 days, and there are many teams they played, probably somebody on the other team has it. Bad. Not good, not good, not good. So the ground has shifted on this issue, though, because the day before, Trump said, okay, no, seriously, this is bad. Ban travel to Europe? What? Again, unprecedented. Conservative pundits were out there downplaying the coronavirus. Oh, wait, Trump literally just did an emergency address and said, okay, this is serious. But the day before, the conservative pundits thought they had their marching orders, and their marching orders were based on a Trump tweet from the day before, where Trump was like, listen, bro, you know, there are more people that die from the regular flu than the coronavirus. Like, what's the big deal, bro? Like, he did a tweet that was something to that effect. And so the conservative pundits were like, got it. You know, I'm going to go with that line. I'm going to go with the line that this is nothing, bro. This is nothing, dog. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then, of course, this misinforms people, and this makes them more likely to get the virus because they're not going to take the precautions. They're going to go out. They're going to be in crowded places, so on and so forth. So here's Rush Limbaugh, and then you also have a host from either, I think, Fox Business, maybe CNBC, who does an insane diatribe. Take a look.
Interesting. My point here is, this is political, folks. Everything has become political in our life today. This is not, they want you to think this is a health issue, and of course part of it is, but it's been politicized. As I said, when this whole thing began, the coronavirus has been weaponized by the media and by opponents of Donald Trump as the latest weapon they might be able to use to get rid of him or to damage his political standing or what have you.
Force of hate being leveled at the president is nearing a crescendo as Democrats blame him and only him for a virus that originated halfway around the world. This is yet another attempt to impeach the president. And sadly, it seems they care very little for any of the destruction they are leaving in their wake. Losses in the stock market. All this, unfortunately, just part of the political casualties for them. You know, this is a time to be united, not to be pointing fingers, not to be encouraging hate, and yet what do we see? We see the absolute opposite from the left tonight. Good evening, everyone. I am Trish Riggin. The hate is boiling over, many in the liberal media using, and I mean using, coronavirus in an attempt to demonize and destroy the president. This is impeachment all over again. And like with the Mueller investigation, like with Ukraine Gate, they don't care who they hurt. Whether it be their need to create mass hysteria to encourage a market sell-off, unlike anything we've seen recently, or whether it be to create mass hysteria in order to stop our economy dead in its tracks. Don't kid yourself. They told us how much they crave a recession as a way to get rid of Donald Trump.
This virus started in Wuhan, China, and then it spread, and it spread around the world. So how is this, if this is a plot to just get Donald Trump, why is it that northern Italy is being obliterated right now? Why is it that South Korea has cases? Why is it that, it's spread throughout Europe? The UK has a bunch of cases. Washington State has been dealing with this for quite a bit. Like, you do realize that the Democratic Party, they are literally just as big of sellouts to big business as the Republican Party is. You think the Democratic Party wants, the airline industry to go bankrupt? You think they want the world economy to grind to a halt? You think they want the stock market to plummet so bad that we had to do an emergency stop of all trading 2 times this week? Is that what Democrats want? I got news for you. Nancy Pelosi's got a giant portfolio, okay? Nancy Pelosi's going to lose a lot of money as a result of that market crash. These people obviously want to keep the status quo going, obviously want to keep everything working for their donors. The idea is, I got it. Let's have a global pandemic. Let's make a bigger deal out of it than it is, and let's crash the marketplace just to own Trump. No, not at all. Come on, man. I mean, these people are they're such partisan hacks. Do you look at any issue objectively, or is everything through the lens of like Republican good, Democrat bad? That really is the sense I get from them. It's all Republican good, Democrat bad. It's just embarrassing. Come on, just stop it. I feel like I'm lecturing a child. Just stop it. So Rush Limbaugh was doing quite a bit of propaganda for the past few days as well. He was saying that this is literally nothing except just the flu. It's not true. Oh my God. Again, I'm going to recommend, if I could find the sheet, I'll recommend exactly where you guys go to get the best information on this that I've seen so far. So there's a guy, where is it? There's a guy by the name of Michael Osterholm. He's a public health scientist, biosecurity and infectious disease expert, director for Center for Infectious Disease Research and Policy at the University of Minnesota. He worked in the Minnesota Health Department from 1975 to 1999. He's on the National Science Advisory Board. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and they go into a lot of detail. He debunks all the myths. He tells you the things that are true. So I highly recommend watching that. But according to him, this is 10 to 30 times worse than the flu. So this isn't as bad as the Spanish flu, but it's also significantly worse than the regular flu. He says that the death rate from the flu is about I think he said 0.01% or maybe 0.1%. It was one or the other. And he says the death rate from this is like 3 to 6%. So this is bad. This is not good. And I love it. I have to come out here and say, hey guys, a global pandemic's a bad thing because Republicans have taken the position. You say pandemic, I say you're just trying to own Trump. That's what no, and listen, it is true the reaction from Trump has been bad in the sense that the CDC was cut, Health and Human Services was cut, pandemic experts were laid off in 2018. We have a shortage of the kits here to test. We're behind what we have to do. Even in Wuhan, China, when word came out like, okay, it's a pandemic, the government immediately leapt into action and they said everything's shut down. Shut everything down. Everything stays in place, quarantined, and they're serious about it. They enforce it. Again, Taiwan and Singapore have had the best response because they've dealt with similar outbreaks in the past. Here in the U.S., we're not even close to prepared. Guys, the supply chain that we need to get the medicine and the protective gear, it all goes back to China. And China has said, oh, interesting. So you want to keep getting this protective gear and these ventilators. We have a shortage of ventilators too. Why did you guys ban Huawei, our cell phone company, from having access to the U.S. market? We'll take a look at those supply lines. We'll take a look at the things that you need, and maybe we'll help. But maybe think about that Huawei thing a little bit. And people know that nobody's steering the ship. Because when Trump gave that emergency Oval Office address, stocks plummeted. And then when that was the futures market because he did it last night. And then today, as soon as it opened up, down. They had to halt trading. Jim Cramer said on his show, we need we need basically an emergency bailout already. And within minutes, the White House or an advisor had called him. I guarantee you they will do more to prop up industries than they will to help the people. So namely, what we really need is universal paid sick leave, emergency paid sick leave, Medicare for all, not just the tests covered, but the treatment covered. And they will not go anywhere near as far as they have to. But what's interesting is that among actual human beings now, like Ben Shapiro tweeted, he was like, so when are these testing kits going to be widely available? Oh, interesting. So now all of a sudden you're a socialist. As soon as there's a crisis, oh my God, we need a better reaction to this. If only we had a very, high-functioning government that was fully funded. Yes, exactly. That's the point. So anyway, it's hilarious to see the conservative propaganda before Trump had to come out and admit, like, okay, yeah, this is bad, and here's what we're going to have to do. Like, I wonder how Rush Limbaugh is going to now cover his tracks today. How's he going to cover his tracks now? Like, what are you going to say? You were just saying it's not a big deal. Then the president comes out and goes, actually, it's a big deal. What are you going to do now? Don't, be a lemming. Don't be a partisan hack. Try to evaluate stuff based on the evidence. This stuff is obvious, but unfortunately, I have to say it.